You might not know this, but there are some huge mistakes that we can make when it comes to decluttering that can have huge ramifications that can delay it or completely stop us altogether. When I first started decluttering, one of the biggest mistakes I made was thinking that the real problem was the toys and my husband's stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie. Those were issues, especially the toys. But do you know what I did? I actually, about 10 years ago, I actually no more than 10 years ago, but I went through all of my kids' toys and I boxed them up. Not all of them, I should say. I left a bunch, but I got rid of so many things and I had them in boxes. And in Canada here, we have this thing called Canadian diabetes where they'll actually like come and they'll pick up your stuff and they'll donate it. I think they sell it to Value Village or something like that. And I had it sitting outside of my house for probably weeks waiting for them to come. And my mom was like, that is so terrible. Your kids are looking at their stuff there. Now, I don't think the kids really cared, but the problem is it's not good for us to start with other people's stuff. So often people will say to me, oh, it's my husband, it's my spouse. They are the problem. And I'm like, I get it. And quite often, maybe they are the bigger of the problems, but do not start with your spouse's stuff until you have tackled all of your stuff. You might very occasionally comment about how great it feels to have things decluttered. Maybe you will say like, oh my gosh, isn't it nice to have like the spaciousness in this room? I really enjoy that. And then you stop the conversation, you don't keep going. Because if you're anything like me, I thought, oh no, this is all everybody else's problem. This is them, this is the kids, this is my husband. It wasn't until I actually looked at my own stuff and really started decluttering that first, then moved on to a little bit of common property like stuff from the kitchen or what other stuff, then I realized, okay, maybe I can start gently suggesting maybe we tackle one box here or there. Another big mistake I made was I would spend ages getting prepared. I would think, okay, I'm going to declutter my house. Well, you know what I need to do? I need to buy books. I need to watch videos. I need to get all of the things. Maybe I need to like download a certain system or whatever. Instead of recognizing that perhaps I would then start thinking I need to find the right charity. What kind of boxes are the right boxes? Do I need to go to Home Depot and get boxes? Maybe I need to drive around to all the grocery stores and to get boxes. And it wasn't until I realized that maybe that was a level of procrastination. Like maybe I was actually kind of stalling, because the thing is, decluttering can actually be kind of overwhelming. And if we don't know what we're doing, of course it makes sense to look for videos like you're watching now for a little bit of help, or to look for like the best way to do something, sure. But if you're anything like me, you spend far too long in that research phase, because the research phase can be very comfortable. Like, hey, I have a science degree, so research is just like something I love to do. That stalling, that perfectionism, and that procrastination, I think actually lead to a bigger issue, and that is fear. And we are afraid of making mistakes. I certainly was so afraid that I was going to need something again, that I was going to declutter the wrong thing, or I was going to declutter something that was broken forever, that was missing a piece, and then I was going to find that piece just after I had decluttered it. I was also afraid that I was going to upset someone. I was afraid I was going to, maybe my husband would be upset that I decluttered something, even though of course, like, we're not starting with their stuff, we're starting with our own stuff. I was also afraid maybe people wouldn't need me anymore, because I used to be that person who had all the stuff. This kitchen used to be absolutely full of stuff, and now it is not full of stuff. We could downsize by half and it would be full. But I used to be able to say like, you need this, I got that. You need this, I got that. Now I don't have that. So then what does that mean about me? That fear worries us. That change worries us. That is exactly how I felt. Even another thing some people can worry about is, or be afraid of, is that they're going to upset somebody who has passed on. They feel guilty decluttering things. We let things go that are our own. Maybe it's a little bit easier, or stuff where it's very easy to declutter, like a random box of like broken plastic or whatever. But then we come across an item that maybe used to be our mother's, even though it doesn't have a real meaning to us. We think, well, it was hers and I don't want her to be upset. So then we have a huge amount of guilt about decluttering that thing, which is not good. So that fear is a really, really big issue. And one of the best ways to overcome that is to recognize that decluttering is not life and death. And yes, maybe, and I am going to get to a mistake that I made. One of the biggest decluttering mistakes that I ever made. Really, what is a decluttering mistake? Is it going to be something that basically causes somebody to die? Not likely. If it is something where you think somebody really might die, okay, hang on to it. But for the most part, no. The things I like to keep now that I realize is that I want to keep things that have meaning to me, like true meaning. And in fact, it's a good thing I'm in this room, because this is where I have a few things that were my dad's. This is his old camera, and this is another camera, and this is a coffee grinder. Those are things that were his, and actually this typewriter was his too. So that feels really good to me, to have those sentimental things. I don't have really, there's one other thing, and that's actually his ashes in a thing of glass, but I don't have any other sentimental things from my dad. I don't need that many. And that was my dad, right? So that is a very precious person to me. And I'm not telling you how much you should have, and you shouldn't tell me how much I should have, right? But just to recognize that there aren't a ton of things that we need, right? The things that we use, the things that we love, the things that we enjoy. I love that picture of my kids. I also love that picture right there above the fireplace, right? So it really is a matter of just realizing, like, this is not a life and death decision where we're not going to make a mistake that is going to cost lives. So yes, there is a fear, and we need to get to that. And I'm going to explain more about that in a second. So another mistake that I made was I thought I needed all the tips and the tricks to get. I thought that that was what I needed. Now, tips can be helpful, and I am the first to offer you some tips on how to do things. And so are many of my other fellow decluttering minimalists on YouTube. But this is a problem, because it's like thinking all of our clutter problems are about stuff when they're actually not. A lot of the clutter issues, if you have been struggling to declutter for a long time, there's a reason why you are getting hung up on things. And the first reason for that is beliefs. And I talk about this a lot in my Untangled program, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview. Beliefs are things where we think, like in my family, my mom always says, keep things for good, which basically just means like you just keep stuff and you take care of it and you put it away until you need it, right? Or a lot of people say like waste not, want not. And the reason why we have a lot of these beliefs is because of generational imprints, as I call them. And these are things where basically, if we had family members who were alive during the Depression, which so many of us do right now. My grandparents were born during the Depression, and that affected my mom and her upbringing and all of that. So then, of course, she passed that on to me. And then I have some level of guilt when it comes to decluttering. Those beliefs, which are imprinted on me, they come up, and they are manifested as patterns and habits. So a pattern might be anytime I go to declutter, I come across just anything that might be like I could use it one day, and I'm completely thrown off because I'm thinking I should declutter this, but something deep inside of me is not allowing me to declutter that. Like, let me know if you can relate to that in the comments. Like, even I worked with a lady once, her mom would keep like every single container from like with hummus from the store. She would save it and think like, I can use that for something. Even my grandpa, he would keep inserts from magazines because he could use them for sweeping dust onto, right? Even though he had like dustpans, because, well, he was born in like 1907. But I mean, these things really, really stick with us. So we have the beliefs then, which come from generational things. Those come to patterns. There's also habits, like how we buy things. For me, I realized when my son went to university, I actually started opening up apps and looking for sweaters to buy, not realizing, oh my gosh, like this is a habit where I'm like, oh, like maybe this is going to help me feel better. And that's not good. There's actually a quiz that I did, which you can go to this site here or down below, and it helps you understand where you get stuck. So there's indecision, procrastination, motivation, and nostalgia. And for me, nostalgia is a big one. And if you do that, then there's also some tips that I'll send you after that as well. So just editing this video, and I needed to come in here and share with you that I think that one of the most important things you can do is look at how we're shopping. Check out this video here. It is all about how we can shop more effectively, efficiently, all of the things, especially in this current age of things being delivered. Stay tidy and mighty. I hope something great happens for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.